I'm 1/3 of Two Cat Men. He's 2/3 of Two Cat Men. And joining us is the thirds of Two Cat Men.
Another member of the Two Cat Men, the drunken house guest who's also chained to the living room couch. But, you know, if I'm going to be chained anywhere, at least I'm in good company when I do it.
Hey,
Right.
you know, and at least I remembered to nail the couch to the floor so that you couldn't just pick it up and take the other half of the shackle out.
Yeah, what can I say? You caught me halfway out the door with that one. And
Yep.
It's made bathroom breaks for him difficult for him though. So
Well, the chain's just long enough.
this is
So
primed
today, well, okay, in this episode,
primed for horror.
second half of this episode, we are reviewing one of my favorite
Zombie
genre films, and that is musical zombie film. So Anna and the Apocalypse, and this movie is amazing. I saw it, loved it immediately. Got a hold of Dan and said, Dan, you got to watch it. And he's like,
Well,
I literally had to like coerce you to watch this film.
in my defense, there have been 80,000 zombie movies in the last 8 years, and I've not been
musicals.
I've not been too keen on most of them.
Actually, I should point out, and we might want to do this as a review for a friend of ours and a fellow Wisconsinite, also, by the way, a fellow PAW member who I don't know any of you have ever met.
Okay.
He's after our time in PAW, but a gentleman by the name of Daniel Carlson. He is from Green Bay, Wisconsin, but attended school at Parkside. And he now lives out here in Omaha working for the local TV station. But he does independent films, and he did a zombie Muppet musical.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Is this available? Can
Yes.
you see this?
We'll keep talking. I'll hunt it down.
Okay.
We'll
We'll
post
put it in the
link.
show notes.
So I love this film, but my sense of order in it might be a little bit off.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, my sense of order in almost every film I watch is slightly off.
Okay.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you mentioned it, yeah.
But I love this part of it. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
But I love this part of it where she's heading to school, dancing and singing, and there's zombie carnage all around her.
There's cars crashing in the background. A zombie falls out the window.
Yeah.
God, this is all going to get really hazy and kind of crazy. It is Christmas Day. They're prepping for the Christmas musical. They're at school, and a zombie outbreak happens, and now they're trying to escape. It just gets crazier and more insane. But the thing I like about it is that they could have gone all the way playing it for laughs, but they go back and forth with the emotional elements of it, where it gets dark, and then it gets funny, and then they get dark funny. And it's a really, I won't say it's a pitch black singularity level comedy, but wow, the humor in it is amazing. The dark moments are amazing. And I'll have to put it this way, I am not a musical theater fan by and large, but I'm planning on adding songs like Hollywood Ending and such to a few playlists, because the music in this thing really is one of the best parts of the whole damn film.
Yeah. So usually, not to jump in there, but usually, especially with something like Sleepy Hollow, or no, Sweeney Todd, everyone loves that movie. And for me, it's like they had a decent story, and then the music is just like an afterthought. But here, the music is actually good.
In this movie, in this musical, the music is on point. It's relevant. It's catchy. It's sexy. It's all of those attractive things that you want in a musical.
And it's funny. It carries through.
It is funny. Like, I can't even get through Hamilton.
Well, I haven't watched it yet, but there's. I like musicals. I like the Muppet Movie. I like Grease. I like Xanadu.
Yeah.
I'm not fond of things like Phantom of the Opera and like very lyrically dense things. I kind of like my stuff catchy and you know um, relevant to the plot. But I guess a good comparison would be Grease versus Grease 2. Grease songs are about what's going on inside the people. Grease 2, the songs are about what the people are doing.
Yes.
The things that's cool about this movie is that everybody's singing about how they're feeling about the situations they're in. They're not just saying, gonna hit a zombie in the head now. Although there is a song there, but they kind of do that, and it's very funny.
Again, you get the feeling that somebody sat down and went, all right, so let's write songs for a high school zombie musical, and then we will, great picture, John, and then we'll structure the rest of the narrative around the songs. And I would love to sit down and ask the writer and the director if that's what they did, because the songs feel way more a part of the narrative than a lot. And I think that's part of the reason that I don't like a lot of musicals is that a lot of times the narrative functions as a way to bring the songs out, and here the songs actually function as a way to complement the narrative.
Yeah, I agree.
I was actually kind of moved by a couple of them, especially the one where the human voice song where they're singing about how they can't get in touch with each other.
Yes.
I thought that was moving. My favorite song is Hollywood Ending. I've probably watched the video on YouTube several hundred times by now.
Yeah.
I cannot get it.
It is definitely a song that once it's in your head, it ain't leaving anytime soon.
No.
And I'm good with that. But you start you discover more and more about the characters, like the teacher, Savage, who...
Oh my gosh. The principal, right? The headmaster.
He has a very functional view of the world.
Very, very utilitarian. The thing is that like you get the sense that he would be a very, very helpful to the group if he could just get his ego out of the way, because he is knowledgeable and he knows, he has a grasp on things to an extent, but he can't stand any kind of insubordination,
right?
Or any sort of
any sort of suggestion is a question of his authority.
Yeah. So so he quickly becomes the villain in the movie.
You've got the gang of kind of like street gobs who, like, this is kind of their glory moment, and they're loving it,
Yeah, and the song that goes right along with it,
For me, the best scene in the movie is when the couple that has promised that they're going to be together and happy and everything, when they realize that they're going to die. And rather than taking those last few moments to scream and yell, they just turn to each other and like they look at a movie that he made and they just give a kiss. And to me, that's like the opposite of what the villain is doing in the movie.
There's a comparison that came to mind for me with that. Another film that we might want to review if you guys haven't done it yet. But there's a moment in the Japanese film Battle Royale where two characters who had been kind of had always been like attracted to each other, are both dying at the same time, and they choose to spend that moment together. And it's a remarkably Japanese sort of thing, but it's a touching, incredible moment, and it transfers over so well in this film of, all right, well, this is the absolute inevitable, so. And again, it touches on a certain degree of, one of the big themes is dealing with inevitability. And seeing those two characters deciding that rather than losing ourselves and losing our minds in this moment, we're just going to have us in this moment. To me, I thought that was staggeringly beautiful.
Yeah, the humanity of that's what this movie is, a comedy, but it's also, even though they don't win quote unquote at the end, they manage to hold on to their humanity to a degree. Like even the guy who's kind of the dickhead boyfriend, he uses his experience of having Mercy killed his father to stop her from doing the same thing, knowing that she would have to live with what he's experiencing. And I thought, just to manage all those different tones, the comedy and the music and all that kind of stuff, it's just.
It really gives everything its appropriate space, but it also has its shock moments. Also, the shock moments provide when one of the characters dies, somewhat by surprise, or gets attacked and bit somewhat by surprise, And watching Anna's reaction to it afterward and seeing her go completely bestial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That release, because you get the feeling that it's not just her releasing her anger over the death of someone who was close to her, but also she came into it with a fair amount of built-up anger over a bunch of other things too.
Yeah.
And this was just like the final thing that made her go, all right, everything in my way is getting killed.
Yeah, she hits a point that I think everybody hits at some point or another in their life where you just have to say, what the fuck? And you just have to fix the situation. Hopefully you don't have to, go bestial on anybody, but,
Well, she does, and she does it with a giant bladed candy cane. So
Yes, you gotta love that right here in the shot. That's it right
There's
there.
a part of me now that kind of wants to get some people together and go Christmas caroling dressed up as the characters from this.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to do like a cosplay group of this cast, or what would be awesome is if a shadow cast somewhere decided to start doing cult showings of this, with the shadow cast involved.
you know what? I remember noticing there's the one scene where the guys are talking about who's a zombie and who's like Justin Bieber's a zombie, and then Taylor Swift, they'll leave Tay out of this, but then like they cut to the women and they're talking about, I wonder if Paris is still standing. So the women have these very, like mature perspectives on the situation, and the guys are just like, I wonder if Ryan Gosling is eating brains right now.
Well, see, I couldn't figure out, because of that situation, whether or not she was talking about Paris, the city, or Paris Hilton.
I got the feeling she was talking about the city, but. You guys watched it when under your circumstances. I watched it at like 5 a.m, so we all kind of have a fogginess about it.
I think this is a film that's best seen in the right headspace, and that right headspace is being willing to accept an absolutely surreal moment.
Yeah,
because this film is shot through with them.
Oh right? Yeah,
Watching it on noon on a Sunday, maybe not so much. 2:00 in the morning, yeah, perfect time to watch this movie.
I watch this movie anytime I'm feeling a little sad. Because it totally picks me up. There's so much in this.
It's for the runtime, because I think the U.S. cut is like 93 minutes. Mm-hmm. For the runtime, it's a really, really dense film without making you feel overwhelmed.
Sure. And musicals are good for that. I mean, if you have a musical that's too drawn out, it gets boring. People start yawning, and you just start losing interest. And with a densely packed musical that has relevance in their music and humor and everything else, that's what really keeps you going.
The first time I saw it, I loved it except the ending. Now I kind of like the ending even more.
Yeah.
Because it kind of lends a lot of weight to it.
And that's also another part I like about the film, is that it sets up very early on that it doesn't believe in Hollywood endings, and it doesn't give you.
The song tells you that you're not going to get a happy ending in the movie.
Yeah.
One of the first songs, and the guy that he says he's not going to get the girl, and I think he alludes to the fact that he might even die. I don't know. But it's just
I love all the love connections. It's a cute movie as well. I mean,
it's visually pretty stunning, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a candy cane. It's like a candy cane on film.
I'm just saying, at this point, for me, it's a total press play film. And it's another one of those films that you sit there, and when it first came out, it did nothing in terms of like business. So in order to get more films like this made, where somebody just goes all in on the creativity, I want to pimp it to everybody who will listen and get them to go out and buy the discs and buy the soundtrack and everything else. So that way we can prove that there's still room for some really interesting and intriguing creativity in the horror genre, especially the zombie genre, which we all have to admit. We kind of avoided this film for quite a while because we felt that zombies were, done to death.
Sure. Yeah. And that's why Dan originally wouldn't watch it.
Yeah. I mean, Dawn of the Dead's one of my favorite movies. I love Shaun of the Dead, but zombies were actually my favorite genre of horror up until probably right around Shaun of the Dead, which is still great. But right after that, everything was, because everybody realized they could make a backyard epic.
Yeah.
We really didn't give too much of the actual, run through the film, but that's okay, because really I want you to do is, not you two, but you all, I want you to watch it, and watch it on a platform that knows you're watching it, so that it ticks that box that says another person watched this. I watch it, so this past week I watched it 3 times. It only counts for so much when the same person watches it. I've seen it probably about 15 times, but when new people watch it.
I think this is my 3rd or 4th time.
Yeah. This is my first time, so congratulations.
Yeah, I'm glad you watched it, but I want everybody to see this.
I think it should be every year at Christmas time. People should.
This is totally. I want to make up like the best kind of like everybody's a little tired of the same old Christmas film, so how about we sit down and we watch Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, and Anna and the Apocalypse?
There you go. That's a great list. If any of you viewers have any other Christmas greats that are non-standard, please let us know. Also, I wanted to make a note that
Star Wars Holiday Special. Press play 1,000 times. Press play.
Yeah.
Press play every chance I get. This is a film that deserves way more recognition than it ever got.
Absolutely. Yeah. And everyone can watch it.
Buy the soundtrack. Watch the movie.
Cosplay it at conventions and go around in Christmas Carol with blood all over you and a bladed fucking candy cane. Do it.
Yes.
In today's society, we'd probably get arrested.
Well,
I live in Nebraska. I might get shot.
If you get arrested, at least you'll be promoting the movie with a big news story that you were arrested.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. We really appreciate any comments that you might have. Please click like, subscribe, and the little bell so that you know when we put out a new one. Again, we're doing our Friday schedule. So usually by end of day Friday, early morning Saturday, we have a new review up. And we sure would like you to be a part of all this. So please leave comments for us all.
And like us on Facebook at Shutter Club.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Please do.
Yes. And Dave actually was in a podcast. He actually did a podcast interview this week.
Yes.
Do you want to tell everybody where they can find that? Or?
Yes. Look on Spotify and a couple of other places, but primarily Spotify. There is a podcast called Having Written. And it's about the process of writing. And I jokingly said that this was my day to spend pretty much day drunk. Because I did the review of We Are X with you guys, and then immediately afterward jumped right into this interview. And I talk about writing my novel and writing scripts and doing other things. And it gets kind of silly and it gets kind of serious, but there's an awful lot of talk of writing and our influences on writing, and I totally recommend that anybody listen to it.